Hi, everyone. My name's Allie. I'm here with Legacy Title for our Closing Time Chronicles podcast. We have our guest, Ryan Mott with Red Stick Financial.
Hey, how are you? I'm Ryan with Red Stick Financial. We're a local mortgage broker here in Baton Rouge. We got a small office. My partner is Sheridan Fay, and I believe that we do as much as we can to help as many people get homes as possible.
How long has Red Stick Financial been under your brokerage?
Yeah, so just real quick, personally, I've been in the business 23 years, and then about 7 years ago, we were kind of like a branch of another particular company here in Baton Rouge, and then I decided to go out on my own, and so Red Stick Financial has been open since January of 22, so last a little
Awesome.
over 2 years.
What inspired you to get into real estate?
Um, I mean, I guess it's kind of a funny story. I was living in Nashville. I was up there, young lady I was with at the time, and signed a record deal. And so I was up there, and a buddy of mine called and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this." I was in the car business, and he was like, "Hey, I'm doing this. I'm making X amount of dollars a month,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm working Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, basically." Well, anyone who knows the car business knows that those are hours you want to have because you live at the car dealership. And so I said, I don't believe you. And I think that you're lying
Mm-hmm.
because I know I'm a better salesperson than you. So can you send me a copy of your check? I'm going to date myself a little bit here. He had to fax the copy of his check. And I saw it. And so with discussions with the young lady, just kind of everything else, I ended up moving back down here and got into the mortgage business in actually June of 2003. And so I've been doing that for a while. And I think ultimately, there was always the goal or the vision that I wanted to be on my own and run my own thing and do things the way that I wanted to do it. And it just was about finding the time and opportunity. So, I mean, why not start a business when the business is slowing down, right? So that's kind of how we
Yeah.
did it.
That's a beautiful story. I think we've talked about that before. Give me a story of like a really tough financial situation. Somebody came to you and they're like, I don't know, maybe they had a really bad credit score, maybe they didn't have a lot of income, maybe they had a lot of debt, and you were able to get them a home.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, that's probably a lot more of our deals that we do than anything. So we have a bunch of those stories, but there's always one that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple out of Homa who was referred to me by a friend of mine, and they were family of those friends. And in this particular case, they were buying the house from a seller. Not everything was recorded correctly. Not everything was done the way that it was supposed to, but they had been paying their payments on time and had been in the home for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then Ida came and messed up the house. Well, the seller decided that they were going to keep all the insurance checks because the insurance was in their name and that they had to leave,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And so it took us probably about 8 months to get the whole thing just figured out. How were we going to do it? I mean, in this particular case, what we did was we found a private investor who came in, helped them buy the house while the work was getting done and completed, managed to negotiate getting the insurance checks and all that, get their credit scores up and do all those other things. And then they were able to, get the home back after all of that was done, actually purchased the home in a way
Yeah.
is what they ended up doing. So it was back in their name. And it was just a really rewarding thing. There's been times when I've had clients who have, like this one lady, I'll never forget. It took us 2 years to get her in a home. We started working on her credits, telling her what to do, and then life happens. As you know, life
Yeah.
happens, and then something else would mess it up. And she'd call and she goes, "You're gonna kill me." I was like, "Well, it is what it is." Like it just means we're a little more delayed,
Yeah.
but we'll be fine. And so we did. We kept working on it. She was a veteran, and I really felt like we needed to help her, just her story and everything else. So I just stayed patient with it, and then we finally got her in a home, and it was very, again, one of those really rewarding things because
Yeah.
when you work hard, help somebody achieve their goal, there's really no better blessing than that.
I feel like it's not as well known that that's an option as well. When somebody's in that position and they want to buy a house, I feel like 9 times out of 10, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to the realtor first and then getting the lender.
Yeah, I mean, there's varying views on that. My
Mm-hmm.
my view on it and a realtor's view on it may be slightly different, but
Sure.
to me, I guess I'm more of the old school and just kind of how my money is. I'm going to check my money first
Mm-hmm.
to make sure my money is right
Yeah.
before I go waste anyone else's time, or not even waste, just spend time with anyone else.
Yeah.
Um, but sometimes I think what I've found is buyers don't necessarily know where to go or what to do, so they trust that the realtor is going to direct them in the right,
Absolutely.
the right direction. Like, what bank should I call? What lender does this or what lender does
Mm-hmm.
that? Nowadays, yes, you can go online and there's a ton of you know banks listed or whatever, or brokers listed, but you still don't know who may specialize in what, right?
Sure.
Again, if you don't know about Red Stick and know that we do everything, whether you're perfect and have great credit, or we have, we help you kind of reestablish yourself and get going, then you wouldn't know. And
Yeah.
so a lot of agents that do business with us know that, and so they'll call and say, from jump, like, hey, this client is going to need more
Yeah.
work. And then that's just where communication between both people, I think, go well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you have that partnership with that realtor that like you can set that precedent
Right, right.
to help with those. I think that's a really great thing. And I don't think there's a lot of industry standards understanding word vomit, just better understanding that that's an option that the end consumer doesn't know. No, I can work on this for 8 months. I can work on this for 2 years. I don't have to buy in 3 months. It's an option with you guys. So I love that. Tell me, what is a challenge that you faced early on in your career getting into the mortgage business?
I'll be honest. The, I really probably haven't. The only thing that I would say that was trying and pushed me around was, I've been around long enough that when the crash happened in 2008, I was trying to open a branch then. Banks were closing, the world was going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was, I was in my late 20s, and it really, it really was a kind of a defining moment there. I could have given it up, and could have just said, hey, maybe this is not for me to do it. And look, from 2008 to, yes, I had my own branch, for the last 8, 9 years, I think 7 years, whatever it is exactly. And then the 2 years there, so it took me a long time before I had the courage to go back out and do it again. But as we get older and as we look at things, hindsight's always 2020. And so the
Yep.
lessons that I learned there, and with the encouragement of people who care and love about me around me, who was like, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it, but sometimes it's just nice to hear that, right?
Yeah. Everybody
Um,
needs their
and,
tribe,
and
their
so,
support system.
right.
Just I
And
need
so,
validation all the time. I'm like, I need you to tell me I'm doing a good job. I know that I'm doing a good job, but sometimes, you want your friends and family to say, no, we are so like, you need those cheerleaders in life.
yeah, I think so. I mean, I grew up in, I was always the top of everything, and so always got a lot of validation. I'll say that, and whether it was the smartest in class or athletic or whatever the case was,
Mm-hmm.
and so when that happened, it was more less about the mortgage business itself and more some personal. And I went through some things, and
Yeah.
some demons came out and spoke in that area, and but I made it through, and
Yes.
so when as I said, the last couple of years, we all know the market's been tough, right? Rates have
Mm-hmm.
gone up, and when most people would have said, hey, let's take a step back and just kind of see what happens, here at Red Stick, we went and we opened and we pushed, and we've actually grown a little bit in that time when others weren't. And so
Yeah.
I really relay that to the lessons that I learned then. And I can say it didn't get a little scary, like, oh my God, there was a night where I was like, really, Lord, like, this
Yeah.
is this we're going to go through this again.
Mm-hmm.
But I have that relationship, and I was able to be at peace with it, and we made that
Yeah.
decision.
Well, thank
So
you for sharing that story. I think that a lot of people go through that, but not a lot of people want to talk about it. But I do think it's a very important process in life. I look at it as every peak, every valley, every ditch, like it's all for a reason. And we're just gonna it's building a lesson that I don't know yet
right,
to
right.
get to a bigger goal. So I love that you said that, and I resonate with that as well. Tell me, what is your relationship when a file finally gets to the closing table, or to the title company rather? What's your involvement with the title company once we're there?
Well, there's some deals that I don't probably do a whole lot of it on anymore, just because of where I'm at. But there's a lot of deals that I do, just in terms of the title company, I try to make all my closings, is for
Mm-hmm.
one, and so we try our best, and it's one thing that I like about Legacy, because I like the team there. It's good communication. We just want to make sure that everyone is communicating There's not, no one's bashing the other one because there's enough times that things like that happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's not, oh, it's the lender's fault I don't have this, or it's the title company's fault I don't
Mm-hmm.
have that. Because if you do enough loans, I always say that, like, uh, anybody who thinks that things have been, I've always had smooth transactions. You just haven't closed enough transactions yet because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, and so it just making sure that there's communication, making
Yeah.
sure that the team as well, making sure that everyone knows what they're doing. And look, there's a few besides you guys, like there are a few other title companies that we use on the regular, and then there's a whole list of them that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm like I won't tell the realtor who to choose, but I will quickly tell them who not to choose.
Yes.
Um, and that's just due to, again, time, right? Like, how fast can we get things done? I think that the mortgage industry has changed a little bit, and just
Mm-hmm.
in terms of speed, and the faster you can get that done, the better. And so you want to make sure you have all those pieces, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone can actually, help you achieve that goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell me, what is something that you see derails a loan at the last minute, or derails a closing at the last minute?
Um, Again, maybe I'm pretty lucky because I haven't really had anything derail it at the last minute, but or there wasn't something that we haven't been able to get around.
Mm-hmm.
And but you have your occasional. It's generally it's more the client's fault than anything. Not and may not even be something that was in their control, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe um, you know maybe they lost a job. That I had one. Again, another talk about another story. It brings one to mind. She got laid off from her work, and so we would have lost the job, lost the loan. And so I called her and I was like, "You need to call your job right now and tell them that they need to not lay you off for at least another week so we can close this loan." Well, what happened was in this particular case, she did. She reached out and was like, "Hey, da 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 da," and the boss was like, "Wait, hold on, you got laid off?" Like, and then made a phone call, and then not only did she keep her job, she got a raise because she
Oh,
wasn't supposed to be on that
that's a.
list. But had she never made the phone call,
Mm-hmm.
then she wouldn't have known, right? Now, that's not going to happen on every single one,
Yeah.
obviously, but those things are out of control. Maybe they opened a loan that they didn't tell us about,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's always a real big. That there's a reason why your loan officer says, "Hey, don't go open any new debt."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you are an 800 credit score, and maybe you can borrow the money however you want, but maybe it messes with your debt and your income, and so that
Yeah.
changes a program,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then you have to start restructuring it and figuring out how to get that done. So it could delay it. Every now and then there's I'm sure you guys see it more than I do, but because y'all deal with titles every day and much more deals, but maybe there's a judgment or something that everybody's in agreement they want to pay it off, but you're
Mm-hmm.
waiting for a title attorney, not a title attorney, the judgment attorney to call you back, and then he calls you back with this astronomical payoff,
Yep.
and the buyer's like, well, hold on, I thought I only owed this, I could do this but not that. So
Mm-hmm.
then usually we get those taken care of as well, but that starts a whole nother process of negotiating. So it's one of the reasons why we try to get the title ordered as soon as we can in the process to make sure that things like that don't pop up, because you never know, there's always
Yeah.
little stuff. We do our best to prepare,
Mm-hmm.
but things pop up, and
Yeah.
so you just kind of get it through and make sure you do the best. Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there anything you wish buyers, or even refinances, is there anything you wish they knew before they came to you?
um Not necessarily. I think you know and again, way I look at things may be different, the way you look at things may be
Mm-hmm.
different. Like I said earlier, I like to get my money in order first before I call. So it's just more of buyers really understanding where they're at, and I think a lot of times some of them do,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just trying to mask it and hope,
Yeah.
right? And
Cross your
so
fingers and
yeah,
just
like hey, well, there, I know that
please, 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 please.
yeah, I've gotten a call. Well, hey, can I buy a house? Well, like, why can't I buy a house? Well, I don't know. Maybe you should have paid your car note last month, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you have those scenarios, but
Mm-hmm.
you also have the ones where, maybe there's some money going in another place, and so just know your, like, that's it. Just know what your
Yeah.
finances are, even if they're bad.
Just have your head
Know what
around
they
it.
are, right? Like
Yeah.
that way, when I'm asking questions and I'm probing, I always say this: I can't paint. Don't ask me to sing, but mortgages make sense,
Yeah.
right? Like they just do. I don't know. Like when I'm talking on the client, I literally see it all the way through to closing.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing all the little pieces come in, how
Yeah.
everything works, what might go wrong. I don't know why it works that way. It just does in my head. And so
Yeah.
I'm blessed to, which has made, us pretty successful in finding deals that other people can't do,
Yeah.
or we've made our living on other people's turn downs. And I'm like, well, that's easy. You just do this or this. Um, and so again, but I can paint that masterpiece the
Mm-hmm.
more I know those pieces. So no, even if it's not right, like, tell me, hey, this is my problem, this is where it's going, and this is where we're going. I'm real solution oriented.
Mm-hmm.
uh, my family was kind of that way. My dad taught us to solve problems. Like, okay, well, now you know what the problem is, how do you solve
How
it?
do you fix it? Yep.
And so because my mind is set that way, I'd rather know about the problem up front,
Yeah.
because then I can give you the information. Sometimes they're just more fearful because when they tell the problem up front, they get no's.
Yeah.
You know, but our team, I
Mm-hmm.
find myself, Sheridan, with a gentleman named Richard, Randy, we are all very much the problem solver people. So
Yeah.
let us know. And we've all been through our walk of life. Lord knows I have. I mean, I just told you I lost everything. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not being the first person that's going to hang up on you because things aren't quite right. I'm going to help you figure out what it
Yeah.
is because somebody, helped me.
Yeah. Would you call that your real estate superpower?
Probably yes.
I think it's a good one to have. I think it's a very humbling experience to have been in a situation. And I feel like for consumers, it's sometimes hard and almost embarrassing to say, yes, these are my finances, but I still want to get here. So having somebody who's like, no, I've been through this. This is doable. We've thought this. Having somebody like you, I think is just going to help put ease, like mind at ease.
Yeah, well, again, a little bit more about me. I'm in recovery. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sober and have been for some years now. And look, the last thing anyone wants to do is admit that they're powerless, that they've made some mistakes or done something wrong, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's just things that we're incapable of doing as humans, and it takes real practice to be able to figure that
Yeah.
out. Lord knows it's taken me many years to figure it out, and I still do crazy things and make dumb decisions that I shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Um, and so but making that decision to change my way of life
Mm-hmm.
and do that was a big step for me. It's a big life change. Buying a house is a big life change,
Yeah.
change thing. And I would say I'm super blessed. Like, I literally solve problems. I'm a numbers guy too. I mess with numbers. Clearly I like to talk a little bit, so I
Clearly.
talk, I build relationships, and they pay me for it, right?
Yeah.
And so every single client that comes in, and it's something I try to pass on to anyone on my team, like, everyone is treated like family, right?
I love that.
And we do our best, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. I don't care if you're buying $1 million home or $100,000 home. Absolutely doesn't matter, because like, you never know what agent's going to walk in and give you guys or lender give you
Yeah.
a referral, which leads to, just opens the door on a significant amount of other referrals. And we always like referrals because they're a whole lot cheaper to get.
Yeah.
So.
So tell me more, because I love that you shared that. Thank you so much for sharing that. How has mortgage lending affected your work life balance?
Um, if for me, again, just kind of how my brain and how things work. If I'm not solving problems and doing things, then I'm not in balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is one of the things after everything crashed when I went crazy because I was just kind of like lost and didn't know what to do. Um, and so, while some people would worry about me and be like, "Oh my God, your work is too much; it's stressful," like, I don't view going into work as work. And then I'm very lucky. So,
Yeah.
and what I mean by that is, I don't go to lunch typically. And I mean, obviously, if I have a meeting or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
with the agent, we'll do that. But I, for my lunch breaks, I usually attend an AA meeting 3 to 5 times a week. And then that's kind of like my thing. I
Mm-hmm.
go and I get my break. So again, I'm there early, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get to work. I'll stay late if I need to. If you're in this business, you work all the time anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
but I get my little day break,
Mm-hmm.
right, which allows me to kind of reset, especially if I've had a bad morning, a rough morning, or maybe there's a deal that was bothering me, and I get to go in and see what I call my people, right,
Mm-hmm.
and help someone else get out of myself and really help them by sharing with them my experience, what I've been through, what I'm going through, and hopefully, someone hears that and saves their life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's saving my life by getting to actually share about it.
Yeah. I love that. Tell me, What is a market trend you're watching right now?
There's probably a few. I'll always say this: Baton Rouge, like our market, my market trend locally versus nationally changes because we do lend in a few other states. I lend in Texas, we
Okay.
lend in Mississippi. We're working on some other states, but Baton Rouge overall, the market trend, I think that sellers are being a little more, depending on the home, a little more willing to negotiate than they have been in the past. And I also feel like there's been times where we're like, okay, now the rates are coming down, or now they're doing this. And I do feel like enough has kind of happened, enough of the uncertainty, elections, storms, hurricanes, you name it, rises in insurance here, anything that can adjust the payment, that that's all kind of settled now. And
Mm-hmm.
we've also been there's enough time has passed since the super low rates,
Mm-hmm.
um, that people are just starting to move a little bit more. I know we're busier than we've been in a long time, and some of the agents that I've talked to are as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, some of that is timing of the year and you
Sure.
get busier, but it's still February,
Yeah.
and so people have been a little bit busier, but I think values are still good. They're going to hold well. It's crazy to me. Like, I've been in Baton Rouge since '96 because I came to LSU, and what my first real adult job was in July of '98,
Mm-hmm.
and just when I started paying attention to things, like what prices cost then to what prices are now,
Yeah.
take inflation out, put time in it or whatever. And so I just tell everybody, like, I don't care really what the trends are, like, buy today because it's going to only cost you more later
Sure.
down the road. And if we know that we're kind of past the peak and the trend is
Mm-hmm.
now down on rates, you can always refinance and save yourself money down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any advice for new lenders or somebody wanting to get into your area of the market?
Anybody wanting to get into my area of the market, I think, in fact, I have a few people that I'm looking at bringing on board now, and I've told them, find something that you're good at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I, we have the ability to do construction loans at our office. I'm gonna tell you, I personally have never booked one.
Mm-hmm.
I refer them to a friend, and I refer it out of my own office. The reason is I just don't know the ins and outs of it. And again, I'm a problem solver, right? So I want to know that I do what I do well. So if it's a section of the market that's maybe close to home, or maybe it's something you like. So you're an athlete, so you're marketing to just athletes, or whatever that case may be. Maybe it's you're doing just investment properties and being real. Like, find something that you can be good at,
Mm-hmm.
and then be the best you can be at it, and then your residual will come from there. If you find someone and help them solve a problem, they're more than likely going to send you other deals. And then just don't lay back. I don't know. I heard an agent talking the other day was trying to convince another agent that it was okay to have a 0 month, and I'm like, and this particular agent was a broker, and I was like, well, no, that's not okay. And she's like, well, if you do this, da da da. I'm like, but you don't have to, right? And so you don't have to. If you work hard, yes, in the beginning you might have this, you might have that, but if you work hard and you continue to build your business,
Mm-hmm.
do that. And then the next thing I think is some type of coaching or mentor. I think everyone should have someone that they genuinely look up.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you're going to, my broker shop or other broker shops in town or other lenders, make sure that when you can actually see yourself learning something from them, because if not, then you're
Yeah.
never going to get where you need.
Absolutely. If you had to give one piece of advice to a buyer or somebody looking to refinance, what's the one thing you hope they take away from you today?
I just think, again, it's just communication, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Look, I've been in this a long time. You don't win every deal. It's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've won a lot of deals where I may not have necessarily been the cheapest, and the
Mm-hmm.
reason it was is people trusted us, trusted Red Stick, and knew that, like, I'm going to be there for the long term. I got a 12-year-old. I'm not retiring anytime soon, and I own the mortgage.
Yeah.
The company. So for that reason, I don't want to just do one transaction with you. I don't want my team to want to do just one transaction with you. I want you to be around for a long time. And so, um, you know, again, as I told you, Sheridan's my partner. She's just a few years younger than me, and then we both have single girls. And so, as I'm hiring pieces of the team and put them in place, I'm genuinely thinking, does the customer always have somebody that they can contact?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's, not all companies are you allowed to talk to the big person. You call
Yeah.
our office, no one in. We're such a team and family. Everyone helps everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't know an answer, someone else can get the answer, or someone else will answer the phone, and it's just, I think it makes for an overall better experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, controversial question. What's one thing you wish either another title professional or realtors would do better to help you as a lender?
Um, I mean, that's kind of a loaded question, right? You know,
Generally
but
speaking.
I mean, well, it can be. It's not necessarily a loaded question. It can be. I think, um, I don't know.
That's okay.
I will say that, and this is it's because of me. Like, I am so how my personality is. One, I don't like to lose a deal. There's no doubt, and I'm gonna do the best that I can.
Mm-hmm.
But um, for a realtor and agent, you know, even if you're using me as your preferred lender, maybe I'm not the best out there. So you really should probably allow, clients to speak to more, not be so hard on, like we just had one. She was like, you have to use so and so, you have to use so and so, but ultimately I got the deal because we were cheaper, and then turns out now I'm now going to recruit the person to come work for me, right? We just can't be so closed-minded in this
Sure.
relationship. Um, and so that would just kind of be one thing, and then just you know it's and know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I that sounds so bad, but like, again, um, I personally wouldn't use a part-time person. That's just me. I want somebody that does full-time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that there's anything wrong with somebody who's part-time, because even someone who's part-time can learn all the information
Yep.
and do what they need to do, right? And so if you, um, you know, learn all the things and do it, and so again, it's another one of those things. I told an agent the other day, I'm like, look, I don't have the deal. It's okay, but call me if you have any questions on it. Like,
Yeah.
you have to immerse yourself around people who know what they're doing so that
Mm-hmm.
you can become the most professional at what you do,
Yeah.
right? Because I think our clients deserve that. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Absolutely. I think
right?
the end client's the most important thing. It's
Yeah,
making sure they're taken care of and everybody who works together as a team. I think those relationships, like you may work great with this agent, but terrible with this agent, not just because personalities don't match. And so I think it's all about finding like that groove that fits you, especially for the client too.
right, right.
So, well, cool. So where can they follow you? Where's your socials?
Uh, well, I mean, I don't even know. That's terrible, isn't it?
It's
Um,
okay. It's Red Stick
it's Red
Financial.
Stick Financial.
Red Stick
We have
Financial on
our
Facebook.
website at Red Stick Financial on Facebook. I believe that we're on Instagram as well, maybe even on TikTok as well. Sheridan usually handles all that, and
Okay.
and that probably should have been better prepared for that
That's
portion.
okay. I'll put that in the
I am the
caption.
dinosaur in the office, and so I even told the lady at Walgreens this morning when I stopped, I was like, I'm a digital dinosaur, and it's funny because I know I should know better and do all that because I'm old enough. Yes, I'm older, uh, but I'm old enough to where that all started when I
Yeah.
was young, and so
Yes.
everyone kept saying, "You should know this. Do this now. Do that," and it just wasn't kind of cool at that point.
Yeah.
And so my daughter's way smarter at it than I am, and so I know we have all that, and again, the biggest thing is redstickfinancial.com,
Yeah.
and then we're on Brixham, so we're here locally. If someone needs to come in and find us, they can. And I think, yeah,
Okay.
that's about it.
Yeah, I'll make sure that we put your tags in the caption
Okay.
at the bottom of this. Thank you so much for being our guest today on Closing Time Chronicles. We appreciate you. We love working with you on files too, the way you're organized, the way you communicate, the way you show up for your clients, and you really care about them. We love working with you and Red Stick and Sheridan and the whole team.
Yeah. Well, thank
So
you so
thank
much.
you
We
for being
appreciate it.
here. Yes. Okay. Thank you guys.